Okay, we're up to the Mishnah on Lamed Tes on the days at the bottom. We're the last two Mishnayos in the Masechta of Beitzah. So we've been discussing the halachas of Erev Tchumim, right? Yeah, you took a Rosh Hashanah. These must be Rosh Hashanahs. Right? We're discussing the halachas of Erev. We were discussing the halachas of Erev Tchumim, that an object was subject to the shvisa of its owner. So in other words, it goes karaglia bailim. It goes after the shvisa of the owner. Depending upon the owner, that's the jurisdiction that the object will get, food and keli as such. Says the Mishnah. Misha hayu peiroisav be'ir acheres. So you're in one city, and your peiros are in another city outside your tchum. They're outside your tchum. In other words, you can't get to it, right? The people extend the erev and they want to bring him his food. So let's say his erev is 3,000 amos to the west. His tchum is 2,000 amos to the west. The people of the city made extension there. Now they want to bring it back. They want to bring his food back. Lo yaviela, they can't. Why? Because even though they can go there, the food is limited to his, and his is only 2,000 amos, not 3,000 amos. Then erev who pay rice of kamo, and if he makes an erev to go with them, then the Paris is like them. There'll be again. This is all ben hashmashas, right? Then it'd be mutter to bring it. That seems like a double pasha, right? Then it'd be mutter to go ahead and bring it. Mem amid aleph. Misha zimin etzlei archim. You invite people from outside the tchum, and they come to you, and now they want to go ahead and go home, and they want to take a little doggy bag along. But who does the doggy bag belong to? It belongs to you, and you don't have a tchum over there, right? You don't have. So lo yilchena biyadam manos. They cannot go ahead and take in their hands manos. Elam kain zach lehem and I say erev yantif, unless you have been mizaket them for them that food erev yantif. In other words, you would be able to go ahead and erev yantif using the lacha of zach ladim shloi b'fanav to appoint somebody to go ahead and accept on their behalf this food, and thus that food would go ahead and get their tchum, not your tchum. Says Rashi.
They said at your jurisdiction.
Don't they have to make the? Don't they have to be the package?
They did. They did. They took care of the area. We're talking about food now. Your food is limited to your jurisdiction. They made the area to come. Okay. Right now, they want to take your food back, but your food is limited. It can't go to them. Okay. So now Rashi says,
make your food into their food.
They can't do that. It's my food. Now, Misha zimin eslei archim me'ir acheres v'yavoy etzloi al yedei erev. You go after ben hashmashas, though, right? You can't go ahead. Even if I give it to you, it's ben hashmashas was mine, right? So now, Misha zimin etzloi archim me'ir acheres v'yavo etzloi al yedei erev, right? And they bring him. They come to him al yedei erev. So they made an erev, and they're coming from outside the tchum. Says Rashi, lo yolichu. They can't take home the manas of the suda to their houses. The sudas halayla for the sudas at night. They don't have any right. Elam kain zachalahem al yedei acher, that the balabas was zoicha through somebody else. Minosehem may erev yontif. The key guys being what? May erev yontif. Shemasram balabayazel adam acher b'mishicha. This balabas, he gave the food to another person. They made a kinyan. Go ahead and be zeicha for my guests, Ploni and Ploni. The zachan l'adam shalai b'fanav. We know Mishnah in Gittin. The zachan l'adam shalai b'fanav. V'hayu shelahem mibayayim, and therefore the food was theirs when ben hashmashis leilech kirat lehem to go according to their regal, according to their. That so again, so far we haven't seen a chiddush yet, except the din of sechiyah. But basically, we said that the food goes according to the raglim of the bailim. It goes according to the balabas. So here they'd be stuck. They wouldn't be able to take food home. So what do? You made this food theirs al yedei sechiyah erev yontif. That's what you did. Okay, now
making them food. That means I knew I'm having guests.
Yeah,
that's good enough, right?
What do you mean?
That means if I knew you're coming for Yantif, right? If I knew you're coming over for the meal, so you can take home a doggy bag because I made the food for you. Doesn't help that?
You see clearly not like that.
It has to be.
Because it's my food. I have to go ahead and make it your food.
Just
It's
make
not
it
enough to be
for
my
you.
food. I have to make it your food. Okay, now, Itmar. Hamafkid peiros etzel chaveroi. If someone goes ahead and he gives a pikadon to somebody, whether the somebody is a Shem Echinam or a Shem Esacha, we'll learn the third parak of Mitzvah Bez Hashem Yisbarach, but wherever it is, but you're entrusting someone with food. Now, Rav Omar, this food, this peiros, whose jurisdiction does it get? Does it get the nifkad, the one that's entrusted by, or the mafkid, the one entrusting? Who's it considered? Rav Amar karagle mishef kidaloi, not the owner of it, but the one that is entrusted to watch it, the one shemef kidaloi, the one who's entrusted to watch it. Shmuel Amar, and Shmuel says karagle amafkid. Shmuel says it goes to the one that entrusted, according to the regular of the one that entrusted. That's what you go according to. So Rav says again, according to the one who's watching it, and Shmuel says according to the one who it belongs to. Now the Gemara, it makes a very, very shveret sushtel. Let's outside. We know there's a din of Nizikin, Baba Kama, right? We know the Abba is Nizikin, and we know that the Nizikin usually takes place. It depends which one, whether you chayim mishus rabim, shein regular pater mishus rabim, karen's chayim mishus rabim. There's all lachas of Nizikin. So now, somebody goes ahead and goes into your rishus and damages you. It's chayiv, right? He has no right to be there. Rishus hanizik, it's chayiv. What happens if you allow the person to bring that animal or food stuff in? What happens if you allow that? You allow the person to bring that in. Okay, now, what's the din regarding the nizikin of that, if it gets damaged or not? What's the halacha? So we have machlokes, says the Gemara. Azl Tamayu, Rav who says you go after the one who's watching it, and Shmuel says you go after the person who owns it. None. Im hichnis berishus, if you go ahead and ask for shus for the balachotzer, then chayiv. In other words, the Chachamim say, if you tell the person, you bring your peiros in. That's all you say. You can bring your peiros in. Did I say I'm going to watch them? No. I said bring them in. If you say bring them in, says the Chachamim, you be chayiv. Who's going to be chayiv? The one who said bring him in, the nifkat, the one who you bring it into. Rabbi he'd only be chayiv if he accepts shmira. He'll only be chayiv if he accepts shmira. Good. So now, v'amar Rav Huna amar Rav halacha k'divrei chachamim u'Shmuel amar halacha k'Rebbe. Rav who says that just allowing it into your rishus is enough of a shmira. So who adin he would hold taking the peiros into your rishus would make you the peiros your tchum. Whereas Rebbe says no. Rebbe says in order to be chayiv by nezikin, you have to not enough to let it into my rishus, but you have to tell the guy you have to accept shmira. So you see, giving it over to someone doesn't automatically make it that person's. So too by tchumim, you giving it over to the other person to watch, you would still retain ownership of it. That's the Gemara's havamina. Two telling these two things. It says the Gemara, Lema Rav Damak Rabbanan. Let's say Rav who says that just accepting it makes it yours le'inyan shmira, hu adin and makes it yours le'inyan tchumim. Ushmul Damak Rebbe that holds that since you need to be makabel le'inyan shmira in order to be mechayev, who adin, you have to be makabel in tchumim, and since you just said put it in, it still stays by you, and therefore it's in the rishus of the mafkid. Guys, did you understand that svara? It's very, very weird. Okay, this is what it is. Rav is a one-shot deal. If it's in your rishus, you're responsible. Did you accept shmira? No. You told the guy put it down. I didn't say I'm going to watch your stuff. I said put it down. Allowing it in my rishus makes it mine. Hu adin, if I take something to watch, your mafkid peiros by me, it makes it mine. And those peiros now get my tchum. They're subject to my jurisdiction. Whereas Shmuel says no. Says Shmuel, in order to be chayiv linyan nezikin for the person's object, you have to accept shmira. So just because you makabel for linyan that doesn't mean linyan tchumim So therefore, the mafkid still is the only tchumim. So that's why for Oslo Tamayu, we want to say that Sushtel by tchumim is the same machlokes by Rabbi Shmuel linyan Kabbalah Shmira regarding Nezikin, Masechta Baba Kama. That's what we want to say. Of course, now that you understand it, the Gemara is going to go ahead and say lav dafka, right? And one is not totally upon the other. Okay, says the Gemara. Amalach Rav. Ano da Amri Afilu Rebbe. Again, Rav doesn't want to be nichlas to a machlokes Rishonim. Rav Atanoim. Rav wants to say I can all like the Tanoim. Ano da Amri Afilu Rebbe. Ad kam like come a Rebbe Hasam by Baba Kama that you need to go ahead and accept Shmira El de Bistama like Kivel any Terusa. Rabbi, can I keep this by you? Sure. You got to put it down? Sure. I didn't accept to watch it. I just took the burden of you. You wanted someplace. So therefore, the Chachamim hold over there. Rab says, Stama, like Kibbel and the Terusa. He's not Makabel. Aval Hacha over here, HaKibbel and the Terusa. He's a Shomer, a Mafkid. So since he's a Shomer, therefore what? It's his. And therefore it goes after him. Shmuel says, I can hold even like the Rabbanan. The Rabbanan who say over there that just put it down. Rebbe says you have to Makabel Shmira. The Rabbanan said just put it down. Ad kan like Rabbanan Hasam Ela Denichle Inshi Denekim Ture Bershuse the Bal Chatza. It's good. It's good that a person keep his shor in the Shus Bal Chatza. The Mazik Lei Loi Mechayev. What do Rabbanan say? They say it's a person wants that the Nekim Tura B'Shusei the Bal Chatzer. It's the imazik lei loy mechayev. Aval hacha minich lei leinshi delekim peira. What's the svara over here? What's the svara over here? Well, what's he saying over here? Let's see Rashi. I'm not. I thought I understood it before. Let's see Rashi. Ushmul amano dami afil rabbanon. Ad kan like Rabbanon Hasam the kaim b'rishus balachatzer. The Rabbanon hold that the balachatzer is chayiv. In Shmira, the keeping the sphira lahu the mistama oil va'antel chakamale. Mistama said, bring it in a watch. Kol shkein the balashor meinach nichalei. The balashor himself is happy. The mukei shori b'shusoi to put the shor in his b'shus. The balachatzer, the shoymroi, the imazik hayshor lebal loy mechayev aleha. Because if his shor is mazik the balachatzer, he won't be chayiv since he gave him b'shus. In other words, by shor there's a svara to say. Says Shmuel, there's a svara to say that it really belongs to the is makabel shmira. I own the shor. I asked Chaim, can I keep my shor by you? He goes, no problem. I'm so happy to give it over to him. In other words, why? Because if anything happens, he's chayiv. So therefore, says the Rabbanan, you don't need a kabbalah shmira. Hashenkin over here by mafkid says Shmuel, what does he gain by watching your thing? What's he gaining at all? So let's l'chayra. Let's see Rashi over here. Let's see the Gemara one more time. Okay, Shmuel who says over here that by Peiros it remains the reshus of the mafkid says I can even hold like the Rabbanan over there that it's that the owner is chayiv, that the owner is chayiv even without being makabel shmira. Ad kan like Rabbanan Hasam that is chayiv even without being makabel shmira. El denichalei inshi the nekim tur b'shusei the bal chatzar. A person's happy to have his shor in the reshus of the bal chatzar. Why? The mazik lei, because if he's mazik him, lei mechayev, he won't be chayev. That if his shor is mazik, he won't be chayev. Aval hacha over here, when he entrusts him with fruit, minichlei l'inshid the lake in peri b'shusei the chavre without linyan chumim. Why would he want his? There's nothing gained over here. Linyan chumim, there's nothing gained. In other words, there's no tushtel between chumim and shmira. So therefore, since there's nothing to be gained over here, remains yours. That's Shmuel's svara. Tanan. Again, we're talking about linear tchumim, but we're not talking. It could be speaking that he's a shem sacher also. It could be getting paid money. You don't have to come out to put the Rav Yosef that is his potter. The Gemara you're quoting Gemara Namafkid. We don't have to come on to that. We're speaking that there's a chilik between. In other words, we're saying you want to say that tchumim is and nezikin is comparable. It's not comparable at all. That's all we're saying. Tanan. We said that if he does make an Erev, then he can bring the payers from the other city. And if you say the payers. Now, guys, what's our Mishnah? He's in one city, Paris is another city. Pashas, the Paris guys, is by somebody else. So that it's who the person is entrusted by is a mafkid, right? Now, if you're telling me that it belongs to that person who is entrusted by, how does it help my Erev for that? Bishlam, it's my fruit, my Erev can help. I'm in city A, right? I'm city A. I got 2,000 amas to that direction. My fruit's 3,000 amas to that direction. I can't bring it, right? However, if I make an Erev in at 3,000, I could bring it. Now, where's my fruit by? Somebody. If that fruit's by somebody, it's the chayra, a mafkid, somebody else, right? According to Rav, whose jurisdiction is it in? That guy's. So how can my Erev help? If it's in that guy's, it's subject to his jurisdiction. My jurisdiction doesn't help. Whatever I say doesn't help because it's subject to his jurisdiction, the one who it's by, whoever it is. Bishlem Shmuel, it's still in my rishus. Therefore, I can go ahead, Ben Hashmashas, make an Erev and take it and create that they can bring it. Because now it's subject to my Erev. But if it's in the other person's rishus who's entrusted to, I can't make an Erev. It's subject to his jurisdiction. That's the Kasha on Rav. From our Mishnah, that's the Kasha on Rav. If you're going to say it's in the jurisdiction of the one that you entrusted with, he arev who my have when he makes an Erev, who cares? Doesn't help. Because it's again the produce is subject to the jurisdiction of the one that's by. Rav Huna says Rav Huna, Amri Bei Rav, they said in Yeshiva Rav, going sheyiched like Keren Savius. You know what it's speaking about over here? Where he was miyached a Keren Savius. He went ahead and he made a Keren Savius. He went ahead and he made a special area. He made a special area in that person's house. So in other words, it's not like you're watching it. It's my house. In other words, let's say you ever rent a place, they lock a closet and they said, you can't use that's closet, right? You're renting the whole thing. It's not yours. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Got it. So therefore, he's miyached the Paris. So you know why he can go ahead and even though it's in the other person's house, right? It's not in the other person's rishus because it's in my rishus since we're miyached the place. Therefore, my Erev would help me be able to bring those Paris. Tashma, Misha's okay. The next part of the Mishnah, Misha zimin etzlei orchim. Someone goes ahead and is mizamin etzlei orchim. Lo yolicha biyadam. Right, manos. Elam kain zachal lehem manasei erev yontif. Unless you use the din of zachal lehem shloi b'fanav, you're going to get another person. You're going to be mizaka, right? The amid karagli mishaf kidu. It's like he zachal lehem al yidayachem ehave. Okay, how does it help if it's in the rishus of the other person? How can this? You know, it's the person it's by. I went ahead. I gave it to a person. And I said, "Be zeicha for these people." How does it help? If I gave it to the other person, it's the other person's. Either by using zechia, it's if I were to set aside a special house and it's not in the person's house. If I say mezacha shiny, maybe zechia is different. Maybe zechia is different. By the din of zechia, says Rashi, zacha shiny shari kol atzma loyasa el haitzi meshvisasai. The only reason he's doing this is to take it out of his jurisdiction. Guys, what's happening over here? Outside. What's happening over here? I know you guys. I know Avrami Branka and Mordechai. They're coming. They made an Erev. They came to my stern to eat. Good. And I know it's Yontif. You're going to want to go home with a doggy bag. What's the problem? That your jurisdiction and my jurisdiction are two different places. So I have a doggy bag that you can't take because it's you're 3,000 amas in that direction. I'm only 2,000 amas in that direction, right? That's what we said. Now, however, if I had the foresight, I would go ahead. I'd say, listen, Ari, these guys are coming. Take this food, boom, I'm putting it for you. And I'm going ahead, I'm saying, you come, you eat, you take the doggy back home. It's Ari's. How can it's Ari's, it's in his rishus. The answer is, what's the whole reason I did this in the first place? To avoid my shvisa. I had to remove my shvisa from it. Any act that would go ahead and remove the shvisa, Rav would be maida that it's not limited to Ari's shvisa. Because why am I doing this in the first place? No, it's going to, it remains by me, right? So I wanted not to remember me, so I gave it to him. It's going to remain by him. I didn't gain anything. So must be Tzchi is different. That's why I can give it to you. Makes a lot of sense. Good svara. It's a very good svara. So I don't know nafkamina, but this is in miyach in a place, but look, that works. We're good? We're good. Again, but there's a problem. We're not questioning the schia. The question is, if it remains in the rishus, maybe the schia doesn't help. If it's in his rishus, it's subject to his jurisdiction. I'm mafkit by him. He's holding it for you.
If he's doing Zasha for me,
It
does
does
it go to mine?
no. But yes, in the end, yes. In the end, but that's the teretz. That's the teretz. That schia is different. Okay. Rav Chana bar Chaniloi, Tola Bisra Ba'avra Didasha. He hung a salami on a doorbell. That's basically what he did. He went to a town. He was in an inn. He got meat, and l'chayra it's now in the inn. It's in the inn, and it's subject to the ownership of the inn. So, Asla coming to Rav Huna, he wanted to know if he could take it home. He had made an erev to get to this place, and now he wants to know if this food is subject to the jurisdiction of the achsanya, the shpizin, or his. So Amalei, so Rav Huna told him, if you hung it up, Zil Shachal, go take it with you. The inu talu and if they did it for you, no. The Fred Gemara, the iu talu mishakal, if he put it up, could he really take it? But Rav Huna Talmid the Rav Hava. Rav Huna was the Talmid Muvak of Rav. V'amar Rav Karagli Mishav Gidu Etzloi. So l'chayra, who does it belong to, guys? No, who does it belong to? The Shpizin, the host. It belongs to the host. So l'chayra, you can't take it. So I'm shiny over the dasha. Can we shiachad like Kevin said this time? No, maybe since the same teretz, since that they gave him a special place to hang it. It's not in their jurisdiction; it's in his jurisdiction. Therefore, it would be subject to his shvisa. Only Rav Hillel Ravashi, the inu tali leilai shakel, and if they do shpis and held it up, you can't take it. I've Shmuel shor shel patam ayu karagli kaladam. You said a patam is a guy who goes ahead. He fattens up animals, yeah. And what does he do with the animals? He knows people are going to come and take it. He knows people are going to come. He knows people are going to go ahead and come and take it. And his makdam machshava helps. So too over here, says Rashi. Since the fatter upper, he goes ahead and he puts it in the rishus of whoever. They will mark that anyone who takes whoever takes the salami gets the salami. So Amr Ravino Ravashi, that's problem on the kashas. The Inu Tali Lane, if they hang it up like shakal, you can't take it. But Rabbi Rav Chana, Amr Rabbi Yochanan, Lach Reb Daisa. Daisa said if there's only one roya in the city, right, the roya gets it, right? So if the one roya in the city, so we already see that there's only one roya, the only game in town, that he's the one that he gets it. So certainly over here, where they put in his rishus and his das that he should hang it, he should get it. So in other words, they didn't understand Rav Huna's chilik that he told him. He didn't understand the chilik between him hanging and them hanging it. Didn't make any sense. So I'm like Rashi Rav Kana, another kasha. The inu toli like shakel v'tana behem v'akelim kragli abaylim. Everybody have to say shiny Rav Chana b'achla. Guys, it has nothing whatsoever to do with hilchas chesh mishpah. That's hilchas arachayim. It has nothing to do with chumim. It's a din in Yeridea. It's a din in Isavaheta. There's a lot of guys of basa shenis alim in ayin. If basa is out of your eyesight, that you won't be able to eat it. There we had a previous gemara. A certain Rabbi Rochani used to cut meat like a triangle. Why would we make that? That was a simon, right? That was a simon. So over here, this is what Rav Huna was telling him. So shani Rav Chanan bar Chenoi degavar Rabhu v'Torah b'Shmaitza v'Achi Kamlei. This is what Rav Huna told him. At tolis islacha simani b'gavah. Since you're busy learning, if you hung it up, I'm sure you have a simon in it, you can take it. You want to have Fesach Zil Shak will go take it. However, if they hung it up, Masach Taitchu, you had Hesach Hadas, like Tishkol, because it'd be Rosa Shenis Alim Mina Ayin, but not nothing to do whatsoever with Tchumim. Okay, the last Mishnah in the Masechta has nothing to do with Tchumim. It has to do with the same thing as the first Mishnah in the Masechta. Beitzah Shnel de B'Yantif. What's the problem? It's Muktzah, right? Muktzah, we know by now is machlokes between Rav Shimon and Rav Yehuda. Right? Muktzah is something that you set aside. We spoke about many different types of muktzahs. There's muktzahs that everyone is moided to. Again, the main thing to know when it says Rav Shimon Leslie muktzah doesn't mean what Leslie muktzah. He doesn't have the churmiz of muktzah, right? So the last Mishnah is a nice Mishnah. We're going to do it. Ein mashkin v'shoychen esem midbariyos. Now these animals got to be common animals, guys. In other words, the question is where they live. Is this an animal that you makatzadas, not makatzadas? Don't mistake it's a wild animal. You're dealing with a deer. You're not speaking about a deer. You're just speaking about a wild cow. You're speaking about a wild cow. You're speaking about a cow that you couldn't have thought about being the shmashas when you shechted. Again, right? The whole thing of did I have it in zin? So ein mashkin, we're going to have to figure out why does it have to bring in mashkin? What does drink have to do with anything? Ein mashkin v'shoichlin es ambibarius, aval mashkin v'shoichlin as a baisus. But you could go ahead and give to drink and shecht ones that are local. Elohim baisus, what are local? Halon is beer, they live in the city. Midbarius, what are considered not local? Midbarios, those of the midbar. Halon is ba'afar, they live in the wild. They live outside the jurisdiction. Now, Fred Gemara, lomali lemema mashkin v'shoichlin. Just say sheichtin. Guys, we're telling us the din in shchita. We're telling us the din in muktzah. What does the ability to give the animal to drink have to do with anything? Says the Gemara, milsav agavurcha kamashma. You're telling me a chiddush. Delashke inshi beimasai v'hadol lishchait. That a person should first give to drink his animal and then shech the animal. Mishum sircha demashcha. Just make it easier to skin. Yeah, to get the hide off better. If it's hydrated, the hide will come off better. So it's just telling us piece of information has nothing to do with halacha, just a good piece of an taiva. So we have an elaboration now. Elohim Midbariyos. The Mishnah just said those that live in the afar. Elohim Baisos. The Mishnah said just that live what? That live in the houses. They live with you in the city. Midbariyos is called Sheyotze bePesach. They leave Pesach. V'rois be'afar, and they graze in the wild. And they come in the Revir Rishon, they come in the Cheshbon. They come in Mar Cheshbon, right? Free range animals. Elohim Baisis, Kol Sheyotzis V'royes Chutz T'chum, U'bois V'lanis B'treichat Chum. Rabbi disagrees. Elu Be'elu Baisis Hain, both if they go out and come back for Mar Cheshbon, they live with you, then they're Baisis. Elohim Midbariyos. Kol Sheyotzis V'royes Ba'afar Ve'in Nechnasis Li'ishuv. They don't come back. They never come back. So again, machloikas between Rabbi and Rad and the Tanakama. Tanakama says they leave after Pesach, come back for November in Mar Cheshvan, and Rabbi says they don't come back at all. Now it's mashma when Rabbi gives this answer that he makes a chilik between Baisus and Midbariyos. So he's making a chilik between Baisus and Midbariyos. It must be he holds a muktzah. Because if you don't hold the muktzah, right, it must be umi islay Rebbe muktzah, v'haboy mine Reb Shimon bar Rebbe. In other words, the havamina is since Rebbe is commenting upon this, he must hold that if it's baisus, it's not muktzah, right? But in other words, loy Reb Shimon even midbaria should be permitted. Later of Shimon, even Midbariyos should be permitted. So when Rebbe is explaining that there's such a thing called Midbariyos, it must be he holds of Muktzah. Yeah. It says, Umi Islay Rebbe Muktzah, like he holds like the Rebbe Huda. V'haboy minei Rav Shimon bar Rebbe may Rebbe. Rav Shimon, the son of Rebbe, is from Rebbe. Patzile Tamara. Rashi brings, these are dates that don't ripen naturally. So you take them off the tree and you put them in baskets and you bring them in and let them go ahead and so the question, are they muktzah or not? Rav Shimon mahu. Rav Shimon, can you go ahead and eat them on yontif? Are they muktzah or not? So Amalei. So Rebbe said, "Ein muktzah. Ein muktzah Rav Shimon. It's not muktzah Rav Shimon. Ella only what's muktzah Rav Shimon? Groi grois vitzimukim. Only raisins and mud and cut figs. Bilvad. What's the difference, guys, between raisins and cut figs and these dates that you're putting in baskets? Look at Rashi. This is important. El groi grois vitzimukim. Initially, you could eat them. But who and he went ahead and pushed them away to put them on the roof to go ahead and dry out. So in other words, he took them out of the state of heter. They're mutter, they're fruits, there's no problem. But by cutting them up and putting them on the roof, you're saying, I don't want to have anything to do with you until you're ready. Because until they're ready, you can't eat them. Until you're ready, you can't eat them. The shuv ain't a roy, not sheyashvu. As Rashi says, they're not roy anymore at sheyavshu until they dry out. Aval elu, these dates that don't ripen on the tree, loy dacha somebody dying, you never did anything. Therefore, Rebbe says you'll be mutter to eat them on yontif.
It's not considered dying.
What?
I cut it to ripen them. I cut it to bring it to my house. I brought them in my house because I cut them early because it wasn't ripening on the tree. Right?
Cut means you cut the it doesn't mean you cut them off the tree. After they were off the tree, you cut the fruit and put it on the roof to dry.
No, I'm saying by the dates, by the
What?
dates.
By
Why
cut,
is that? Why is that?
because that's normal. It's normal. It's normal. They don't dry in the tree. They never dry in the tree. Everyone always cuts them. That's not to be a diet.
And not all grapes are made.
No, you finish off Rashi. However, there are people who eat it in that state, Yankel. So since people eat it in that state, it's not muktzah, right? Kasalka daitach mid the farishlei milsa Rav Shimon. Alma Rav Shimon Svirulei. It must be when he explained the words of Shimon that he holds like Rav Shimon. So Fred the Gemara, if he holds like Rav Shimon, what's he getting involved with midbarius? There's no such thing as midbarius. They don't exist. Midbarius are not muktzah. Like Rav Shimon. Havamina. 3 tuatzim. Says the Gemara, 3 tuatzim. Iba Yasema, right? Hani Nami Kigroigrais Vitzimukim Dami. These are also midbarios. Since they leave, it's like you let them go out. It's like you doicha them with yadayim. They're gone, and they're like simukim and what, and right. What does Rashi say? Midbarios shein nechnasos l'yishuv keklal kigroigas simukim damya. They don't come in. But it's like that's one teretz. Either he taka holds of muktzah and therefore explaining barius, and he just said, "You asked me according to Rav Shimon." No, what his son asked him, "What would Rav Shimon hold over here?" He didn't ask him psak. He asked him pshat. Rav Shimon taka would hold his mutton. You can ask me what to do. It's also okay. The dvar of Shimon. Right, come on. A third teretz. We're saying according to Rabbi Yehuda L'chayra, who holds a muktzah. Lididi, I hold ein muktzah, and therefore there's no difference between baisus and nevarius. El lidchu oidel and mias. According to you, be moided to me mias. Hechad the yotzais v'royis b'Pesach, where they go out in Pesach and Chnosses b'Revi Rishon and come back on our Cheshvin. The baisus saying, "V'amalei no rabbanon no midvarius and midvarius." Hajlech mashil and players to sleep in Masechet Beitzah. Hajlech mashil and players to sleep in Masechet Beitzah. I'm going to make a see him right now. Like this same enough enough Masech the Beitzah, like this Milan, long Dasi. Hajlach Masech the Beitzah, Hajlach Masech the Beitzah, Daitchalon, and Nastashim enough Masech the Beitzah, like Nastashim Milan, Lobal Milan Dasi. Hajlach Masech the Beitzah, Hajlach Masech the Beitzah, Daitchalon, and Nastashim enough Masech the Beitzah, like Nastashim Milan, Lobal Milan Dasi. Here's no Fanecha Adnoy Lehinu Valeva Senu. Shetay Toraskum Sen Valamasev, Tayman Lamba, Hanina Papa, Romeo Papa, Nachma Papa, Chayba Papa, Abamari Papa, Rachma Papa, Rachish Papa, Sucha Papa, Adar Papa, Dori Papa. Out of no Adnoy Lehinu was Tibus, the Rascal Fino, Pius, and Kabis Roll. Nia Kulan Nachlu, but Satsana, but Sayam Kabis Roll. Kolon de Shemech of Linus Mayovi, Hakmini, Seth Gilon Eli. He leave Tam Kukak Malay Vish. Lelan Lashak, Kudak, Kivon Kisani, Baruch Ato Adonai, and then Kukaka, Ame Namin Namin Solo Ed. Why them Nachlu Fanecha, Adnoy Lehinu? Well, here I was saying, Santa Bachena, Mayesha, the Medish, Santa Bachena, Mesh Konis. Shana Mashkim, Hemashkim, Mashkim, the Vitor, Hemashkim, Vermatalim. I know Mailum, Hemet, Amelum. I know Mailum, Makab Masacha, Mailum, Makab Masacha. I know Ratsam, Ratsam, I know Ratsam, Chayolam, Haba, and Ratsam, Veshachash, Nemar, Yatel, Him, Taridim, Veshachash, Anshi Dom, Mimel, Loyach to Yemayam, and Yatachbach. Here's some Fanecha, Adnoy, Lahai, Hashem says that time the same as Seftas Beitzah, King Tazim, that Haskin Seftas Vermachem, Lasimam, Lilmud, Lami, Lishma, Lasal Chayim, as called every summer to Sefri Ava. Schools called Tanoim, Vamroim, Talmid Chachanim, Yamad Olai Lazari, Yamad Li Lazari, Shlei Tomash Atorim Pi, Pizari, Lizar Zayar Olam. He's kindly Beslacha, Tanto Isach, the Shachmacha, Sishma Alacha, Akitsoisa, he Sichecha, Kivi, Yerbu Yemecha, Vesifan Lachash Chaim, Aracham Mila, with small of Oshab Chabad, and they guys maintain at Noy Bare, as I'm Roy Bashalom. Yiskadel Yiskadesh, May Rabba, Yama, the Asas Acharato, Ulachaya Messiah, Usakol Chayamo, Ulekatu Shalem, Usakola Hechala, Bigava, Umerka, Mukhana, Nakro, Meara, Ulasfa, Bukhana de Shmaya Lasre, Yam Kushabiche, Makusema, Chayachon, Mimkan, Hadkabes, Stro, Albaglas, Makrib, Mame, Yehesh, May Rabba, Barach, May Barach, Ishtabach, Spravis, Mavis, Nasevi, Sadavis, Losh, Shabicho, the Elam, Kabachas, Shirasa, Tishmakas, Kamazot, Amir Mamma, Mame, I saw Baban Tamidam, Call Tamid, Samidam, Common Laskin, Barasa, Divasra, David, Savasar, Yelam, Khan, Shalom, Rabba, Khin, Kis, Rachman, Khan, Richin, Zan, Biche, for Khan, Makadam, Abolish Mayaba, Rabbi Mame, Eshnar, Shamayim, Chaim, Kos, Mame. I said, Shalom, Birma, for Yashamalin, Malkoy, so well, Birma. First mission. Okay, we'll do the first Mishnah. Abba Rosh Hashanah made the 4 Rosh Hashanahs, Bechem, Nisan, Rosh Hashanah, Malachim, regarding dating a star, or regalim, regarding regalim. Let's see what that means. Then Gemara, Bechem, Elo, Rosh Hashanah, Lamaisa, Behem, any animals born before that time, you take off the previous year of Lazar of Shimon, Bechem, Betishrei. Bechem, Betishrei, Rosh Hashanah, L'shanim, Shemitah, L'Yobos, L'Ntil, L'Rakos, Bechem, B'Shvar, Rosh Hashanah, L'Ilon, Kidrei, B'Shamay, B'Salaim, B'Chamish Boy. It's an involved Mishnah. We'll see it tomorrow. Okay. Bez Hashem.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
It's not fair. Dove is